Thanks for joining us on our comic book coffee break. I'm Nick Gunning.
And I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dusk vs. Tweak.
Eric, today I've got a nice steaming mug of Jim's Organic JoJo blend hot coffee here with a little bit of Irish cream syrup in it.
All right, is that JoJo's Bizarre Blend?
No, just
All
regular.
right, that's an anime joke. I realized
I,
that I knew you wouldn't get it, but I had to get it out there.
I also knew that it was a joke and I knew I didn't get it, so I thought if I just rolled with it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I've got a mug of cold water. I'm not hiding anything here because I've been on a 8-hour plus road trip today.
I know.
I
This
just
is
got home like an hour and a half. But
Yeah.
it's in vintage 1995 classic
Oh my
Batman
gosh.
Forever see-through mug.
Yes.
So this
Those
is
are,
the
yeah.
Harvey Dent one. So he's flipping
Yeah.
the coin, and the coin is making the handle. But then you've still got the Joker question
Yeah.
mark there. So
Riddler.
Did I say Joker?
You
Sorry.
did, but it's been a long day. You've been driving.
I've been
You know
driving.
what?
Yeah.
I mean, I loved these mugs. I absolutely love these mugs. I also loved the big plastic tumblers that they did for Batman Returns.
Oh sure.
And for Batman and Robin, Doritos did this little thing where they had these looked like little film cells of all the different characters that were like see-through. And I would collect them and put them all in my window.
You have to wonder why they didn't do like a Mr. Freeze Cool Ranch. Like they're so Cool Ranch, they're freezing.
Oh, yeah. All right, everyone. Enjoy these chips.
They're Cool Ranch.
They would cool you down.
Yeah. Crunch it. No, what's the nacho? It's nacho cheese.
Gotcha.
No, it's not. It's nacho cheese. Nacho cheese.
It's better than the dialogue from
Yeah.
the film, actually, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No one better put a finger on my butterfinger. Pretty sneaky,
Schwarzenegger,
sis.
He's just unencumbered in those movies. He's having a great time in Batman and Robin. He's there for it.
I got
so.
to have my pops.
Yep.
Sorry. That's it.
All right. Would you like me to say your line? This show is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network.
Yeah.
You can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com.
It's not so easy, is it?
No, it's hard. Other shows of the network include Three Nice Things, where we force ourselves to say three nice things about a movie with a bad and often earned reputation. Radio 64, featuring video game music remix radio. Previously on X-Men, the podcast that looks back at X-Men comics, movies, shows, characters, and more, gearing up for an X-Men Apocalypse
Yes.
movie takedown, right?
It got slightly delayed because of the impromptu road trip I took. But yeah,
Yes.
it's X-Men Apocalypse. And actually,
Okay.
we just did a poll to see what the next character spotlight should be.
Oh.
And the Sentinels won by a margin. I thought it was going to be
Oh,
Jean Grey. I'm
okay.
excited. I think the Sentinels will be fun.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm sure your co-host will be real excited about it.
The Sentinels are so
90210,
excited.
here we go.
All right.
A 90210 rewatch podcast hosted by a 90210 expert and a 90210 novice,
Yeah.
and 90s Music Got Me Like, where we take a look back at one kickin' 90s track each week.
Yeah. Actually, we got a poll up right now to see which one we should do next. And right now, Kiss from a Rose, speaking of Batman
Oh,
Forever, is in the lead by
yes.
quite
All right.
quite a bit. So
Good times.
yeah, if more people vote, maybe that will change. But it's looking like we're going to be
Could be.
covering Seal's 1994 single, which is crazy.
I smell a crossover.
Yeah.
Sounds great. All right, Eric, let's talk comic books. What have you been up to? What have you been reading?
Yeah. All right, I'm going to start with something I watched because it was like the first thing I did during the week.
All right.
I've still been on like a kick, having finished Justice League Dark Apocalypse
Yeah.
4. I've been on a kick. So I watched the Constantine City of Demons,
Oh, okay.
which is a weird...
I've heard almost nothing about that movie.
Well, it's weird.
like good or bad.
Because it's like that, who was it first? Vixen? It was Vixen.
Yeah, where it's a bunch of mini episodes.
Yes, this is all a bunch of like mini shorts turned into, I think it's like 88 minutes long.
Wow.
So it's like an hour and a half thing, but so its pacing is weird because it's done to be a whole bunch of like very quick shorts. Gosh, I wanted to remember what this was based on. I believe it's called All His Engines.
Okay.
It's a Mike Carey run. Like, you can get that in a trade paperback of a Constantine. I think it's mainly based on that.
Okay.
It's good, but I think the pacing is the thing. I think it could be a little shorter, and if the pacing had been done for one standalone movie instead of these shorts. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was made movie first and then they cut it up.
No, you're right. It was short.
Right,
And
but
I'm
I
looking
mean, maybe
here.
they like created it as a movie first. and
Oh,
then
yeah.
like started splitting up where they were going to do that. But
Mm-hmm.
it does feel like it's a bunch of shorter vignettes.
Yeah.
So,
I remember talking about this a little bit with J.M. DeMatteis, the
mhm,
uh, who actually wrote this and is a well-known comic book author. We spoke
yes.
to him on the All the Book Show, so you can go find that interview.
Hmm.
But he was saying that it's in the same continuity as the Justice League Dark
Yeah. Yeah, this is
film.
still the Constantine that you saw in Justice League Dark and then Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. I
Okay,
don't know, like, I think this feels like a prequel to him showing up
I
in
see.
the first Justice League Dark. It's
Okay.
good. It's very dark and graphic
Mm.
and violent, and I would not suggest it to you. It's very demony, and it's got people just being tortured on pikes and everything at a demon party. Um,
Yikes.
but it is, if you don't know anything about John Constantine and you don't want to read the comics, I mean, this is pretty good. So
Everything you got. Okay.
yeah, there's some
I never
interesting
did
looks at that
finish
thing.
the TV series. I was really intrigued by the pilot, and then the changes after the pilot, with dropping characters and sort of rearranging the focus was kind of a letdown for me. But I was intended to go back and finish it, and I just never did. But you were,
That show was inconsistent for the
yeah.
most part. There were some good episodes, and then it was kind of weird. It was very monster of the week a lot of
Well,
times.
it felt a little bit like, I mean, the pilot I feel like is setting up a pretty cool show, but then afterwards it was sort of feeling like early X-Files,
Yeah.
and maybe not in the good way.
Um, yeah, I mean, I was watching that show like on air. It was
Oh, I
me and
remember.
like
Yeah.
five other people watching that
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, you, Matt
Yeah,
Ryan, and a few
yeah,
others.
this Friday night show. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
I think it aired on Halloween, which I
Mm,
think it did pretty good numbers pilot. But Friday night is
yeah.
like where shows go to die.
Oh, sure. Yeah. You got
So,
to be a Tim Allen sitcom to survive on Friday night.
but yeah, I mean, and it's nice having Matt Ryan still doing this stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll
Yeah.
keep him now that they've done their things. But yeah, I liked.
Well, I mean, Matt Ryan's still playing Constantine in
Yeah,
Legends of Tomorrow,
that's
you
true.
know.
So
So
anyway,
CW Seed's putting these things out
uh,
too.
City of Demons suggested if you like Constantine, not suggested for Nick. I think this
Okay.
is. I
Understood.
think you would not like it, and things would stick with you in the ways that you tend to avoid.
All right.
So
If you want to talk about things we were watching,
I sure do.
I finished season 1 of Runaways,
Runaways,
which is
runaways.
I just can't keep track of the namings of the ABC family. Is it Freeform now? That's where it's from, right?
Is it Freeform? Because I thought this was Hulu exclusive now.
Oh, is it Hulu exclusive? That's what I mean. I don't know. I watch it on Disney Plus, but the point is,
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
I
it was like canceled on Freeform and moved to Hulu, or maybe that's Cloak and Dagger. But you're right that
I just don't know.
ABC Family is called Freeform. But anyways, you watched the
Okay.
first season of Runaways.
All right. Yeah. We've been kind of watching it just in pieces, and we sat down and watched the last several episodes.
Mhm.
I mentioned in past weeks here that I'm not.
No, you're
I've
not
never
versed.
read. I've never read one of these. My
Mhm.
wife was a big fan of them, and so like as things would go, they'd make some little nod or reference, and she'd be like, "Oh, cool,"
Uh-huh.
She was responding to all sorts of little cues that I
Yeah.
was completely missing.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I was really impressed by it.
Mhm.
I think the acting's really good. The characters are strong. It sustains this really, it's a really serialized story, and it
Mhm.
sustains the tension of that for
That's
the
good.
whole. I want to say it's like 10 episodes. It's not super long.
Right.
For my money, it's maybe the best like superhero show that I've seen, like
Wow.
that's on currently. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Like I would rate this above the CW shows or even like
Goodness.
Titans or something like that. I really felt like
Mhm.
it it had its goal. You know what I mean? Like it was really locked into this story and maintained this really. It felt cinematic.
Mhm.
It felt like watching a long movie, whereas something like The Flash feels a lot
Right.
more,
Yeah.
episodic.
You'll never catch me this week either.
Yeah. Oh, we
Yeah.
didn't get it, but next week we'll do that. And
Yeah.
we also have interpersonal dramas. But no, I thought that this was a really strong
Nick.
10 episode season.
I'm gonna need you to just trust me on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just, I'm not there yet,
All
Oliver.
right. Copy
Not
that.
there yet. All right.
I Molly seems too old for me in this
Yes.
show because she's
That is-
I forget how old she is in the comics, but she's always presented as like a middle schooler, and so like she seems like a full blown teenager in this.
Yeah, I did that was probably my number one complaint.
Yeah.
Nothing against the actress. I think
No.
she does it really well.
Yeah.
But it is very strange to have her act so like boop boopy doop
Yeah.
young
Because the
and
whole
be like a
joke.
head taller than the
Yeah, the
others,
whole joke is that she's like so young in the comics, but she's also like Hulk level strong.
Yeah.
And but she doesn't know how
It
to do that. So she'll punch a truck to stop it from running over some ducklings. Is like
yeah.
her youthful innocence. I think
Yeah.
in one issue later on, like when Joss Whedon took over, the Punisher showed up and she just punched him, and he's like he's like blood is coming from his mouth. He's like, oh my gosh, and like you just killed the Punisher. She's like, I thought he had powers. So
I do think that's a missed opportunity. And like
yeah,
they know that. They dress her really young and she
weird.
acts really young, but yeah,
Yeah,
she looks at least the same age as
yeah.
the others. But no, it's three
Nico's
seasons.
cool in the comics because she's one of the few like Marvel doesn't have like a lot of like magic characters, so she's been kind of like brought up now as like one of the premier Marvel magic
Okay.
characters up there with
Hmm.
Strange and Scarlet Witch and
Okay.
stuff. So
Well, I'm definitely going to finish this series. And actually I put Runaways on my queue for Marvel Unlimited.
yeah,
I know you're singing the song. I can
sorry.
see it. And my wife said that like reading the comics like would not have spoiled like this season
Hmm.
because it follows such a different trajectory.
Oh,
But
okay.
it sort of seems like season one is setting up the concept of Runaways, and season two, like you're really going to see it.
Oh, okay.
But I was
Okay.
not impatient with it at all.
All right.
So three seasons, and then I do believe it's connected to Cloak and Dagger,
Yeah,
right?
Cloak and Dagger is a spin-off of this.
It is a spin-off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm in. I'm in.
All right.
2 thumbs up.
In the Hulu
Definitely.
Marvelverse.
Yep.
All right. What next?
Oh, you want me to keep going? Well,
Sure.
well, let's keep talking about watching stuff then, because
Okay.
I finished Supergirl season 4,
Mm.
and I'll tell you what kept me coming back in season 4 was John Cryer as Lex Luthor. You just don't think he's going to be a good Lex Luthor, and then he just is, and it's so interesting and so compelling, and he brings such weird things out of that show. Because I was getting a little
John
tired of it.
Cryer, the Two and a Half Men's actor.
Yes, or I would say who John Cryer of Superman 4 fame, who played Lenny Luthor, Lex Luthor's like stupid
In
nephew
Superman
in
4.
The Quest for Peace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
And the season finale of Supergirl season 4 is called The Quest for Peace. So they get extra points
Okay.
for doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was kind of an uneven season. I think they're kind of figuring out some of the characters they need to shift around a little bit. I want to be more on board with this show than I am because Supergirl is one of my all-time favorites. I love the Supergirl comic books, particularly New 52 Supergirl, but I don't know. You're pretty far behind in this, right?
I've been meaning to finish season 2 because it's not connected to where me and my wife are with Flash and Arrow.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I just haven't. So, but
Yeah.
I was enjoying season 2 quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with it. I'm
Alright.
looking forward to Superman and Lois.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now we started the first couple episodes of season 5, so that's where I'm at now.
Alright.
And that's it for things I watched.
Okay. I read. All right, what did I finish? Did I delete it? So I didn't. Yeah. Okay. So I finished that Moon Knight series. I don't know
Yeah.
what the volume is, but it's the one that started with Warren Ellis and then became Brian Wood and then it became Cullen Bunn. Brian
Okay.
Wood's was very talky and less interesting and stylish than Warren Ellis's was. Cullen Bunn gets back to kind of the Warren Ellis stuff. It's just a little bit sloppier. It's
Okay.
I think the whole book is trying to keep the style that appears in like the first issues, but not every writer and artist is made for that. So it doesn't necessarily land the mark, and then it just kind of ends.
Okay.
But I kept reading because I'm in a Moon Knight mood now. So I started the series that comes after this, Moon Knight by Jeff Lemire. It seems like every time I pick something up, it's Jeff Lemire right now, which I don't mean to have happen.
Well, it keeps happening.
Yeah, so this Moon Knight series starts with him in an asylum, and like an old-fashioned like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest asylum, where they're still doing like electroshock therapy. And they're like, "You're not Moon Knight. It was just you've got issues already, so you made this up." And he's like, "That's stupid. I know I'm Moon Knight and everything." The conceit doesn't necessarily work because I'm like, well, I mean, we have 30 plus years of him as Moon Knight, so
Right.
and him
Yeah.
interacting and being in places.
Does this take place on Shutter Island or is this
No,
somewhere
this
else?
isn't a Shutter Island thing.
Okay. All right.
What's interesting to me is that everybody always talks about how he has dissociated identity disorder. Like, everybody in the comics is always talking about that, and that's what people always talk about with Moon Knight, but I never really see it done very well in the comics.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's still kind of like Warren Ellis created this new Mr. Knight character who isn't really Moon Knight. He's kind of, he's got like a suit and everything. And
is it like a Mike Murdock situation?
No. But yeah, I guess that's what Jeff Lemire is kind of playing on with this one. So I only just started this run.
Okay.
But and it's trying to go trippy. Like, is New York covered in sand and being attacked by ancient Egyptian gods, or is it just New York and Moon Knight's kind of losing it? So yeah, I'm just in a Moon Knight mood. The thing is, I also just want a Moon Knight comic where he's just being Moon Knight on the streets. And people are like, oh, let's steal this car. And Moon Knight punches them in the glass and says, not in my city. I'm Moon Knight.
Shut up, you're going to jail.
Yeah, I want him to say, shut up, you're going to jail. Moon
That'd be
jail.
Cool. Before we move too far past Cullen Bunn, I just want to mention that I've read a bunch of his Green Lantern stuff. And Sinestro Volume 1 is great. The series is a little choppy after that, but the first volume of that Sinestro comic is excellent. I think you'd really enjoy it. That's Cullen Bunn.
All right. Yeah. Cullen Bunn.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, our plans over on the All the Book Show have sort of dominated my reading for this week. We have some interviews lined up, and so I've been brushing up on some of those authors and artists. So let's talk Marvel for a minute. I read Joe Quesada's Iron Man run. So this is like late 90s, early 2000.
Yeah, like this is post, I think, the Heroes Reborn stuff. So like Onslaught made all the heroes go away, and then they brought them all back for like their Heroes Reborn thing. I think this is what that's coming off of.
Yeah, it could be. Okay. It read pretty well as just to pick it up and read it. It's collected either as Iron Man by Joe Quesada, and that's like 12 issues or so. And then there's also two collections, one called The Mask and the Iron Man,
which I've read,
and Remote Control,
which I haven't read.
And those, the stuff about the suit basically being an abusive boyfriend, I thought was actually pretty interesting. I liked
Man in the Iron Mask, and then they like have a big fight where like Tony Stark is like using just like sticks and stones, and the suit's like, "What are you doing, Tony?" It becomes that Julia, whatever her name is from the 90s.
I don't know.
Pretty Woman.
Oh, Julia Roberts.
It becomes that Julia Roberts movie.
Sleeping with the Enemy?
Sleeping with the Enemy.
Yes. Well, anyway, I liked it quite a bit. The art in those books is done by Aletha Martinez, who is going to be over on the All the Book Show.
Not Joe Quesada.
No, he wrote them.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, it was in, when we were talking over on previously on X-Men to J.M. DeMatteis, we were talking, I asked him, taking over X Factor from Peter David, and he was excited because he was going to work with Joe Quesada as his artist, and then Joe Quesada was like, oh, here's your one issue, bye! And he's like, darn it!
No, this has it's kind of a cool, it's got a real like sheen to it, it's definitely like the art in this has a point of view, certainly. But yeah, Aletha Martinez does all that, and we're going to be speaking to her over on the All the Book Show. But I would say the Mask and the Iron Man bit is good. I really like that. The stuff that came after, less so. There was like the Sons of Yinsen, and then the Remote Control stuff. Just kind of.
Isn't Remote Control like an old show with Colin Quinn or something?
That sounds right.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
An MTV show.
I didn't like the second half. But that first arc is definitely worth a read.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you? What else you got?
Stuff.
Okay.
So, gosh. If we'll stay with Marvel, I haven't seen the movie New Mutants because I don't want to go to a movie theater right now. So I'm a little bummed by that.
Same.
It made $7 million, I guess $7 million worth of people want to go risk it. That's fine.
The local drive-in
isn't showing
near us. No, it had Bill and Ted, but it didn't have New Mutants.
Well, I mean, maybe Disney's just not putting up the money to distribute it to that kind of stuff. But anyways, I'm still reading my New Mutants comics. The stuff I read is collected in New Mutants New Mutants Classic Volume 4. So really, it's issues 26 through 34. So you've got like 3 story arcs in here. You have the New Mutants dealing with Legion for the first time. This is his like first appearance, which is interesting because what did I say? It's issue 26. He was mentioned in like issue 1, and they're like, I can't tell them that Legion is Professor Xavier's son, and he hasn't appeared yet. So Chris Claremont's like, you know what I want to do? I want to have the New Mutants go to a fake Roman city hidden in Brazil, and then we'll get to the Legion stuff.
Wow.
But this is still this is like the end of Bill Sienkiewicz's run, so he's not there long. He does the Legion arc, and then he does this arc that comes after called a Gladiator or something, where they're like dealing with this gladiatorial fight, which I didn't really dig. And then they have to deal with the Shadow King, who has taken over their teammate Karma and is kind of controlling them. So I guess it's kind of a precursor to like Claremont doing that same kind of story later with the X-Men, with Jim Lee and everything. And that was better. So like the beginning and the end were better. The middle is kind of meh. It's just I'm ready for Claremont not to be writing these, and I'm ready to get to the runs where other people took it over, because the Claremont stuff, he's still writing it his overly dramatic way that just feels out of place sometime with these kids. So every now and then, like I like his take on magic and everything. Ileana Rasputin, like she's definitely a standout in this, along with Danielle Moonstar. But I think I'm ready to see what other people do with this series going forward. So I just don't know when that happens. So
I picked up one called World of Wakanda by Roxane Gay with art by Aletha Martinez. This was funny because I'd read the Ta-Nehisi Coates, at least volume 1 of Black Panther, and this is set before that, and it follows like the group of bodyguards that are sort of training to be in that position. Right. And what's interesting about it is that it came out in 2018 or something like that, and I've been stuck in like 2012's Marvel. The story actually takes place during Avengers versus X-Men. So it fits right in with where I'm at. It kind of picks up post Namor flooding Wakanda. And that's what gets it going. So I thought it was kind of funny that like I picked this up, just as part of my Black Panther reading, but it actually like is tying into where I'm actually reading through in Marvel. But this was cool. It had a cool look to it. It was a romance primarily, but it worked really well. It's basically 5 issues, and then there's a 6th that follows a different character. But no, I had a good time with this. I thought it did a really nice job of filling out everything that's going on around Black Panther. You got more of a sense of just the Wakandan culture and how that's all set up. Right. So I thought it was good. You don't have to read the Ta-Nehisi Coates Black Panther to get it. You could just read this as a standalone, and it would be fine. But no, I liked it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember any of this coming out. Even if it's 2018, I don't remember seeing this stuff come out. Like on the
it's a miniseries. It's one collection of this type. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Is that you're saying cool now?
Instead of cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dropping the L.
Just trying it out.
But yeah. I read Jonah Hex. It's volume 7.
Wow.
Lead poisoning. Just a whole bunch of different Jonah Hex stories. We learned a little bit about him being raised by his dad and why he's such a jerk about things these days. Maybe we see a side of him that's shows that he's got a little heart, even though he's a real bastard.
Jonah Hex.
Yeah, just I'm kind of like, I don't know how many more volumes I have. I think it goes on for quite a bit more. But I'm kind of amazed.
Era? I don't know what era are we in here?
Of DC? I want to say post-Infinite Crisis. So I think, Volume 1 was published in 2006.
Okay.
Face Full of Violence. But then, so I think we're looking at like a 2006 series or something.
Okay.
I'm just kind of shocked that they've been able to maintain such consistency, so many like different good stories about this character for so many issues.
Hey, fun fact, you recommended this to me in 2012.
Yeah, I remember your reactions.
You said you made fun of me for this, but I think the Western nerd in you would find a lot to like in this run.
And I imagine your response was, nah.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Was that right?
Probably.
Oh, I thought you had it up still.
No, I don't know. I just when I clicked on it, it was like this book's been recommended to you. You know what,
Oh.
Eric? I'm clicking want to read. How about that? You've
No,
inspired me. I'm going to do
there was
it.
a day you asked it must not have been 2012. You know what? That's when I first read it in
Oh,
2012.
okay.
Because late,
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was part of that run where you're like, oh, I'm in a rut right now. I don't have anything to read, so I suggested a whole bunch of
Could
stuff,
be.
and I got a whole bunch of one-word responses from you. Some were positive.
Oh yeah. See, I thought that was funny, but I guess it was that
But
was a
yeah,
scar that I left on you.
I guess there's like 10 volumes of this. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna be sad to find out how close I am to being at the end. There's 11 volumes of this
Holy
series.
mackerel! You still
Uh,
got 5 more.
70 issues. 70 issues of this Jonah Hex series. That's
Wow,
impressive. Way to go,
that's a good long haul.
guys who wrote it.
Yeah.
Justin
Justin Gray,
and
Jimmy Palmiotti.
yeah. So good
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Well, maybe next week I'll be able to tell you what I think of Jonah
It
Hex.
has no there's no like Batlash or other like DC Western characters. There's no like time travel or anything. It's just Jonah Hex.
Just
So
chilling
yeah.
in the Old West.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Let's look at some DC. I read some
What I just
DC.
did. Jonah Hex
Yeah,
is
I know.
DC.
I'm sticking with it.
All right.
I'm gonna let it roll.
All right.
I read 2 Black Canary titles. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
The first is Black Canary Ignite
Yeah.
by Meg Cabot,
Is that the
known best as
YA
the
or
author of the
Juve?
I
Like
would maybe
juvenile.
say junior,
Okay.
junior level. Meg Cabot, author of the Princess Diaries and
Mm-hmm.
other things,
Yeah.
but Princess Diaries.
You're welcome,
Re-
Anne Hathaway.
yeah, Anne Hathaway. Meg Cabot and art by Kara McGee. I thought this was pretty good.
All right.
My wife's the big Black Canary fan. She doesn't really care about these like YA and junior like
Mm-hmm.
adaptations of these sort of things. I'm kind of a sucker for them,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And I thought this was pretty good. It started kind of like, whatever, like teenage Black Canaries in a band.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of got into the whole like they're doing the thing where her mother was Black Canary first, and she finds this out as the story progresses. And I thought like by the end, it was one of those ones that it made a case for its own existence in a way
Right.
that I felt like the Oracle Code really didn't.
Okay.
So no, I thought this was pretty good.
Nice.
I also read a miniseries called Black Canary New Wings, written by Sarah Byam,
Yeah. I
with
imagine you
art.
did this because of the Mike Grell Green Arrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep. This is really spinning right out of that. So
Okay.
it's written by Sarah Byam, illustrated by Trevor Von Eden, who is also going to be on the All the Book Show in the coming
Mm-hmm.
weeks. So keep an eye out for that. But this was really solid.
Okay.
Black Canary in the Mike Grell run of Green Arrow is a really important character, but you almost never get her perspective on things. It is a Green Arrow book, and everyone in that book is there to serve
Green
Green
Arrow.
Arrow storyline. And so Black Canary is a major, like I said, she's a major part of that, but you just don't get a whole lot with her.
Right.
So there's this 4-volume miniseries, which was really, it was solid.
Mhm.
I mean, it had a lot of things going. It was like a political intrigue kind of plot,
Is
dealt
this
pretty heavily with
her in Seattle?
racism. Yeah, her in Seattle.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it's right there on
Um,
the cover.
yeah, so this is 4 volumes, but then the following year, the creative team came back and did a 12-issue ongoing series, which is also on my list because I was
All
really
right.
impressed by this. As far as I can tell, these have never been collected.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
it's either you find the single issues or you get the DC Universe app
All
while
right.
it lasts.
All right.
But I recommend this, especially if you're a fan of the classic Mike Grell run of Green Arrow. But even if you're not, this is a good just standalone story.
Right.
It's a strong Black Canary.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep.
And this canary's got wings.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
So I read 2 volumes of John Ostrander's Suicide Squad. It was volumes 4
Okay.
and 5. Volume 4.
I thought you were farther than that. I guess you took some side journeys with your Deadshot solos and stuff.
Volume 4 was such a slog because I don't know if you're familiar with the Janus Directive storyline that happened
Not
in
really,
the
no.
late 80s. It was Suicide Squad. It was Checkmate. It was. I had to read
Too much.
I had to read a Firestorm. I had to read a Manhunter. Are you familiar with Manhunter, the character who was like raised and trained by
Oh.
the Manhunter robots?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had to read one of those, and I'm just like, stop. It was like 12 issues of just suicides. I couldn't.
That's
It
a lot.
would not end. Um, Luckily, Volume 5, which is called Apocalypse Now, and spelled, the apocalypse of the DC, was much better. There's been a character
Yeah.
in this called Duchess, who's kind of like a Rambo type character, and
Okay.
it's been hinted that she was Lashina of the female Furies
Oh.
from Apocalypse,
Okay.
who got left
All right.
behind, and we find out it's her. She's trying to get back to Apocalypse, and so like a bunch of the squad end up on Apocalypse because of her,
Okay.
and not a lot come back. And Dr. Light has a pretty ridiculous scene in this. And then like Bronze Tiger has to get a crew together to go like rescue them. And so
Okay.
you got like Granny Goodness and a bunch of Apocalypse characters fighting the squad, and Lashina having to fight to prove her back. But then Apocalypse shows up and he's none too happy that she brought a bunch of people to Apocalypse. Also, I didn't know this. John Ostrander created the role of Oracle for Barbara Gordon in this
Really?
series. This
Oh, I didn't know that.
this is post The Killing Joke, and
Yeah.
him and his wife were not fans of what Alan Moore did in The Killing Joke.
Yeah.
So they created the character Oracle, and you don't really
Really?
know who it is for a bit until this volume where the camera pulls back and you find out it's been Barbara Gordon this whole time. And I guess
Wow.
she'll later start working with the squad as Oracle. And so like the first Black Canary Oracle comics don't happen until 1996. So that's about
Yeah.
like 6 years after this. So
Wow.
John Ostrander, kept Barbara Gordon in circulation.
Apparently. Well, no, that makes me want to read it. Do you think I'd enjoy it?
I mean, by the time Oracle doesn't show up until much later, and she hasn't really been too much of a role yet. So I don't know when
Okay.
she becomes like more active in this. So I can let you know which volume
All
it
right.
is. But yeah, I was kind
Do
of
it.
surprised. I didn't know. I guess I just assumed Oracle made her first appearance in some like random Batman book. Probably
No, it
written by
says right
like
here.
Alan Grant or who else? Chuck Dixon or something.
Yeah, Chuck Dixon is what I would have guessed. Suicide Squad number 23, 1989.
Yep. So
There you go.
that was a cool thing to learn. But yes, this series picked up much much more in volume 5. So
Okay.
it has some really cool covers. I'm sharing the cover where Lashina has them like attached to a rocket, and Amanda Waller's like wrapped up in
Oh.
Poison Ivy's vines, like in the front of it.
That's a lot.
Lashina is just like, wow. Big Barter shows up. So
Intense.
yeah, it's good stuff. So it was nice
Okay.
to get back to the flow of things.
Your bringing up Checkmate reminded me of one other thing that I finished watching that I should report on, and that's Smallville season 9.
Yeah.
We've been doing a rewatch of Smallville, and we
Mhm.
just rounded out season 9. And I had seen the first, I don't know, 5 seasons of Smallville a couple of times. But when
Mhm.
we're getting up into this later stuff, like I haven't seen season 9 since it was airing on TV.
Right.
And season 9 is like the Zod season.
Right.
That's where Callum Blue is playing a younger version of Zod.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it is such a herky-jerky season
Mhm.
where like one episode is just like a goofy Lois and Clark rom-com.
Uh-huh.
And the next episode is like there's a Kryptonian army trying to blot out the sun.
Ooh.
And it's like those two things never cross paths. It's like two different shows
Right.
jockeying for position. So I had a good time with season 9 of Smallville. But it is has like maybe too many plates
Okay.
spinning in the air
Yeah.
to keep it going.
Man, I had a question I was about to ask you right before you said that, but I'm so tired I cannot remember.
But it's gone.
What the
You
question
drove it.
was.
You drove it right away. Was it
it-
about Smallville?
No, I think it was about Oracle, but
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't know if. Oh wait, nope. Bronze
Is it?
Tiger? No,
Is it
it's
there?
gone. I've lost
Okay.
it. If it
All
comes
right.
back, I'll ask.
Okay. I read Wonder Woman: Heart of the Amazon by Shea Fontana. This is next. I mean, this was just happened to be where I was in the Wonder Woman run. Shea Fontana, who, last plug, is going to be on the All the Book Show for a special Batman Day episode. Shea Fontana is best known as the author of the DC Superhero Girls
Oh, yeah.
series. She wrote the movies, the shows, and the first, I don't know, 8 or 9 of the graphic novels, I want to say. Currently, Batman Overdrive is her latest, but this, as far as I know, was one of her only forays into writing like the proper like DC universe. And it was interesting to see because I'm so familiar with her DC superhero girl's take on Wonder Woman. But what I appreciated about this volume was that it was very simple and it was just sort of a breather because this run, like the Rebirth Wonder Woman, had that weird publishing format where like even issues were a year one story and odd issues were like way later.
Yeah, something
And
that's
it was
made
just
100% for trade paperbacks, but means it's terrible to read in single issues.
yeah.
And then people are wondering why physical media. Anyway,
I
continue.
know, but even trying to read it on the app was so confusing. I had to keep going up for lists and find like an
Yeah.
actual reading order for the title.
Yeah.
Anyway, this I want to say is volume 5,
The library,
and
your library has a bunch of these,
we do,
or maybe
yeah,
just the first 2 or 3.
yeah, yeah. We were following the series pretty regularly.
Right.
I'm not sure if we're up this high,
Okay.
but like I said, this one is just the series has been so confusing and so convoluted. I felt like this was just a solid Wonder Woman story, and I really appreciated that.
Nice.
So I had a good time with it.
I watched Wonder Woman Bloodlines.
Oh.
Because
Kind of a snooze fest, right?
yeah, it's weird. It's so weird because I get it watching it that it's a retelling of her origin kind of, but in their like New 52 animated movie universe. But then it's not really an origin. It's just this straight like Wonder Woman story. But it is just really dull, and especially focusing on this Silver Swan character. And maybe there are people who like love that, but like I found it to be shockingly dull.
I watched this not that long ago, like not that long ago. I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens in it. It's just I am the last person to be like, no, we don't need more Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman. I mean, she's top tier for me, and I was really excited that they were doing another Wonder Woman movie.
Yeah.
But why they would do another origin when we just had the movie and then the Carrie Russell, Nathan Fillion
that's
Wonder
the
Woman
thing.
is still so good. It's like why?
After watching this, I was like, I guess I just need to rewatch the 2009 one. The one with
Yeah.
Carrie Russell and Nathan Fillion is still so good. Alfred Molina is just like chewing up the scenery as Ares. It's just
He knows what he's doing.
But like also that movie's just like it's so the 2009 one is just so overdramatic in all the right ways. And Carrie Russell's Wonder Woman is so cool. And then this one it's all very like I don't know, they're playing her very much like I want to be Wonder Woman, but can I?
Yeah.
Should I? This is what I think I should do. It's a strange take, and when it brings in a lot of
it's an exceedingly strange take to do that post the Gal Gadot Wonder Woman. Like why you would make a Wonder Woman like that, I have no idea. And as much as I like Rosario Dawson, I've never liked her voicing Wonder Woman.
There's a bunch of different villains in this, considering like the 2009 one just had Ares, but like I did not get on with this one. So I was not into like and at the end too, they're like, it was really you. I'm like, I don't care.
I know. Yeah.
So and the voice, I don't know.
It's a snoozer.
These new 50, this like continuity of the DC animated movies, the Justice League War On, they tend to find that you do drama by having a lot of quiet spaces in between everybody's lines. So Wonder Woman will be like, do you think I can do it? And then there'll be like a beat that's way too long, and Steve Trevor will just be like,
I was tired thinking about it.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So it made me miss the 2009 one, which I still have. So throw it on.
That's Steve Trevor. That's Jeffrey Donovan, like from Burn Notice, which like he's great, but he's not good in this movie.
It's disappointing that this is the first Wonder Woman movie they've in this animated world that they did since the 2009 one. It's not a sequel. I would have killed for a sequel to the Carrie Russell Wonder Woman movie.
You gotta think both Carrie Russell and Nathan Fillion would be game to do that.
Yeah, of course they would. I mean, Nathan Fillion still does stuff whenever he's asked for this stuff. He still plays Green Lantern. But I would have been much more... I would have been probably more satisfied with the sequel.
At the very least, just tell a story. We don't need to see the origin. It's also not a good origin.
No.
You know what I mean? Like Wonder Woman... I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not the interesting part. You know, that's just sort of like what happened. We don't need to rehash that every time.
So I still need to watch Suicide Squad, Hell to Pay, and Superman, Red Sun.
Yeah, I haven't seen Red Sun, and I'm Man of Tomorrow, which is like the the
Listen,
new era.
it's the fact that I watched Justice League Dark Apocalypse War that makes me want to go back to Hell to Bay, because I did kind of like seeing the Squad in that movie. So I thought the Harley Quinn in Apocalypse War was just way too over the top. I was ready to mute my TV. So, but
All right.
hopefully she's I'll enjoy her in that one. We're watching season 2 of Harley Quinn right now, but we're not done with it. So more of that to come.
More to come.
Yeah.
I read Return of Zeta the Space Girl by Ben Hatke. This is another one this is one of my son's absolute book 3. Yeah, one of my son's favorites. And so I read this one the other day. It's a good series.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this 3-volume set, and then there's one more that's a crossover with Mighty Jack. Mighty Jack. Yeah. Another series by this same author. So we're planning on reading that series next, but this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly written for that younger audience, but there were some things where, like, with all of these, my son read them before I did, and he kept trying to talk to me about it. And I'd be like, no, don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. Because, like, that's really, I mean, you wouldn't think that would be the way it was with this, but there were things that I, like, genuinely was worried that he would spoil.
That's it, you're grounded. Go to your room.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it's perfect for, like, a younger crowd. But I got a lot out of it, as an old man, too, so...
So funny thinking about you, like, grounding your son or sending him to his room because he's threatening to spoil something.
Well, I didn't, but I know. I'm just thinking
like,
no.
Yeah.
Spoiler
culture comes home.
Yes, I did have to stop him. Yeah, absolutely.
I swear, no video games for a whole week if you spoil Zeta's Space Girl 3.
Do you have more that you read?
I got more that I read.
Okay, hit me. Let me have it.
I read like 4 or 5. I don't know how many issues I read. I think it's just 4 issues of Shadow Man. Shadow Man. Shadow Man's got his motorcycle. He's left New Orleans. He's just traveling the country. He's having a wild time. It's crazy. Shadow Man is such a funny series sometimes because it's the daytime and he gets into trouble and he's like, oh, if only it was nighttime, then I would be Shadow Man. And then it's nighttime and then he kicks everybody's butt and they're like, wait a minute, you're that guy from the daytime. He's like, but I'm Shadow Man now.
But at night.
Yeah, it's just like, well, stop picking fights in the daytime, Shadow Man. But that's how he knows. He picks a fight in the daytime.
Yes.
And then it becomes nighttime and he's ready. He's got his targets. At one point his bike gets stolen and he's PO'd. I
would be too, sure.
He meets this guy who has a bunch of crosses that say, don't do bad stuff, and these other people keep showing up and burning them, and so he beats them up. He meets this one guy who, if he could touch you, he brings your memories to life and everything, so he ends up fighting like a version of himself that had just been there. These are trippy books. I love it.
It sounds like it.
But it's funny because I think he's trying to figure out people who turned him into Shadow Man's like, things have gone crazy, Shadow Man. You're letting the Shadow Man part of you take over everything. And that guy is
I hate
nuts.
when that happens. I hate it.
So you need to come here so you can learn how to control the Shadow Man persona. Because like nighttime will come, he's like, I don't want to kill people. I don't want to like punch people into brick walls. I want to be controlled. And then he's like, but also Shadow Man. It's a violent series at times. It was one time where it was nighttime, and he's like, I'm not going to be Shadow Man. I'm just going to play my saxophone on stage at nighttime. But then people were like, that was scary, man, with your saxophone. And so, yeah, he's playing the most demonic version of Baker Street you've ever heard.
Yeah.
Stop it, Shadow Man! He's been on his motorcycle road trip. He's heading back to New Orleans because the people he fought last time are the ones who broke his bike.
Whoa!
And so he's like, now you've got it coming. But also,
look out!
Yeah, so this is like 44 issues. I think I'm only on like issue 18 or 19.
Wow.
I've got Shadow Man.
So many more Shadow adventures
ahead of
in your
me.
future. That's great.
And
exciting.
I finished Black Hammer 45.
Okay.
This is part of Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer series.
And this is like a side story, right?
Yeah, this is one of those. It's set in 1945 during World War II.
Did we not already talk about this?
No.
Okay.
Because we talked about Dr. Starr, who
Oh,
was
okay.
like who was helping fight who discovered like how to use star energy.
Okay.
This is set during World War II, and this is kind of an homage to DC's Blackhawks. They're the Blackhawks, right?
Oh, okay. Yep, Blackhawks. Yeah.
The fighter pilots of World War
Yeah.
II.
Yeah.
So this is where like the name Black Hammer comes from. They've all got the hammer on them. It's
Sure.
all African American soldiers for the most part, or it's mainly that them fighting in this. So it's funny because when you get to the back of the book, they're talking about decisions, and they didn't plan on that from the beginning. They already had like done the first issue, and they're like, wait a second, this would be so much more compelling if we're dealing with like an all black Air Force set in World War II because of just how
Mm.
you know black soldiers were treated both in the
Yeah.
military and then out of it. So they focus on that, and they also and then he meets what's his name Slam some Abraham Slam, who's like a
Mm.
who's kind of like their Captain America figure in this, and
Okay.
he teams up with them, but he's off to go do his mission, but they're here to do something. So it's kind of like a suicide mission. Not a lot of them make it back.
Okay.
I think one of them made it back. The problem is the art was just very sloppy throughout.
Yeah, that can make or break.
There's shots of them just running forward straight to the camera, and it just looked very like they just kind of sketched it very quickly. And I think with a different artist, I think with an artist who could get that like World War II retro vibe, it would have been a more compelling read, which I felt was too bad because I thought the general story was very good. I just thought the art wasn't up to task. But Lemaire has nothing bad to say about the artist, so I guess he was happy with it. But
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of like how gosh, what did I read? I read that the Justice Inc. that had the Shadow
Okay.
and Doc
Right.
Savage,
Yes.
but the art wasn't done. Like the art would have been better if it had been like an Alex Ross
Okay.
kind of thing. So anyway,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who you'd get to do that concept. I mean, Darwin Cook isn't around anymore, so I guess
Yeah.
I would have suggested him.
I love that DC direct to DVD movie.
The New
New
Frontier.
Frontier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Darwin Cook's art style would be more what you'd want to go for with
Yeah,
something like this.
that
But
makes sense.
I don't write these stuff.
It
So
was not to be.
now I can
Wait a
get
minute.
back to Black Hammer, the main story.
Sure.
I never thought I'd see the day.
I didn't think I would either. You had an assignment, and it seems like you failed to meet this assignment, and that was to read and report back to me on Josie and the Pussycats in space. And that didn't seem to happen.
I didn't. Yeah, the
guess I'm
Comixology original. I'm sorry.
I guess I'm just confused because I thought
Yeah.
we had a deal,
All right.
but
I'm sorry.
you asked me what I was going to be reading this week, and I told you two titles, and I'm afraid I only got to 50% of these titles. I'm starting Jason Aaron's second volume of The Incredible Hulk. So that's what I'm currently reading.
Right.
But I did read and finish Static Shock Supercharged.
Yeah. What? This is New 52.
It's New 52.
Yeah. Was this part of the first wave of New 52, or did this come later?
No, I think this was early on. I mean,
Okay.
of course, the origins of Static Shock goes back to like
You know
the
what? I
Milestone
remember. I do remember. This was the first wave, but it was like one of the earliest they canceled.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a great look on them because it's one of those things where comics are always like, look, we're doing things that are diverse and that you demand, and then it's like, but also we got to cancel it after 8 issues. Like, well, DC, if you don't commit to anything, you're just the problem.
Well, and it's too bad too because like I did not watch the Static Shock show. I was not reading like the Milestone imprint when the original Static stuff was coming out. This is not a character that I know well. Like I don't know this
It's on
character.
Kids WB. I think it was like during the Batman Beyond era.
Yeah.
Like right before like the Justice League series and stuff. I remember in the time travel episode of Justice League Unlimited, they go to the Batman Beyond future, and there's like an older gray beard Static Shock there, which was
That's
a pretty cool inclusion.
Well, the problem I think with this issue is, and this was a common problem I feel like in New 52, it was not a good place to start reading this character.
Okay.
Because like I said, I don't know Static. I don't know what his background is. I don't know how he got his powers, like here I am complaining about a Wonder Woman origin again, but I could have used a little bit of like
Sure.
here's what Static is all about, because instead you're just really tossed into it, and it felt like I was picking up like issue 6 instead of
Mm-hmm.
issue 1. So, anyway, this is written by Scott McDaniel. The first arc is. Um,
Dwayne
at
Dwayne
Dwayne McDuff
McDuffie
was the creator,
was the
yeah,
creator, and
did the original stuff.
gosh, he passed away in 2011. He had a
Yeah.
big hand in Justice League Unlimited and Ben 10 and stuff. He was one of those
Hmm.
creators that like it was only 49 years old. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, the,
Continue.
the Scott McDaniel stuff, like I said, it to me was not a good intro.
Mm-hmm.
At issue 7, 7 out of 8, as you recall,
Mm-hmm.
um, the writing switches to Mark Bernardin, who I know primarily from
Fat Man on
the
Batman.
Fat Man on Batman, Fat Man Beyond podcast with
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Smith. So I was kind of surprised to see him pop up here. Um, but that was actually much better. Like issue 7
Of
is a
8.
better, yes, issue 7 is a better introduction to the
Right.
character and the world and what's going on. Like issue 7 was kind of clearly like a soft reset of this title already.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only 2 issues, 7 and 8, and then it's just gone.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I like the character, but I just didn't get much from this.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my complaint there.
Something recent happened with Static Shock? I could be wrong. I remember
No,
they were...
DC just announced that they're bringing back like Milestone Comics, the
Oh,
imprint.
okay.
And so like a lot of these characters are going to be revisited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep, that's it. That's all I read this week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, same.
Yeah. Do you have a Batman comic you'd like to share?
No,
or would you like
I'm close to like falling over forward into my keyboard and falling
Just
asleep.
sleepy.
Yeah, nobody's
All right.
gonna be here to hit end stream, so you're just gonna see
All right.
me.
Well, let me quarter bin you real quick then, all right?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm good. I don't have a Batman pick.
Okay.
We'll get one next week.
All right. For this week, I selected The Brave and the Bold, number 143. This came out in September 1978. So this is really 2 stories in one. The first is called Cast the First Stone. It's a Batman team up with The Creeper, written by Bob Haney with art by Jim Aparo. It's a pretty straightforward Batman story. Him and the Creeper just like solving a little mystery.
Steve Ditko creation.
Yeah, which is wild.
Did you ever watch the? I mean, there was a Oh, you never watched the like Gotham Knights, the Kids WB years of Batman in the animated series.
No, but I've definitely seen the Creeper
Jack Ryder.
in Batman.
Right? Yeah, Jack Ryder
Yeah.
turns into Creeper and falls in love with Harley Quinn, and so
Yes.
he's like chasing her, and Joker's chasing him, and Batman's chasing Joker, and it's all like this ridiculous car chase where like Robin is like on a skateboard. I remember like hanging on the car, like whoa. Anyway, I enjoy those types
Yeah.
of car chases.
Yeah.
It's a fun episode. Yeah, he goes like it almost felt like what was that Cartoon Network show? Freakazoid. It almost
Yes.
felt like they did a bit.
You're right.
little bit of
It's
Freakazoid.
much more in line with Freakazoid.
Freakazoid.
So anyway,
Freakazoid.
that's the first story in this 2-volume set. I'm focusing on the second story in
Target.
issue number Human Target. Yep. This is called The Cat and the Canary Contract. This is by Len Wein with art by Dick Giordano.
I've always kind of years of DC.
Yes. I've always been interested in the Human Target character. Do you care about Human Target at all?
He had a show, right?
Two. There was one in the 90s, and then there was the one more recently with what's his name?
Couldn't tell you.
He was in Boston Legal, and boy, that's gonna drive me crazy.
James
No.
Spader.
No, not James Spader.
Oh, okay.
So there's 2 Human Target shows, and then he is in the Arrowverse as well. He's in
I
Arrow.
remember the Arrowverse. He was in season 5.
fills in for Oliver Queen.
Yeah.
But I've always liked that character, and I like it when he just like randomly pops up somewhere. This is an early Human Target story, and so let's get into it. Christopher Chance is the Human Target, and if you're not familiar with the Human Target, he
What's wrong with you? No.
just takes people's place. He's kind of Mission Impossible-esque, where he like lives as that person for a certain amount of time to sort of be a human target, to shield them. So in this one, he is very reluctantly taking a government contract. He doesn't like to work for the government, and he does without seeing who the client is, which to me seems like probably not the kind of thing you want to do if you're the Human Target. But he has accepted this,
Right.
and then it's revealed that Amos Sharkey is the contract, the person he has to replace.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Chance sees him, he freaks out and lunges at him, tries to beat the crap out of him. It turns out that Amos Sharkey is responsible for Christopher Chance's father's death.
Whoa. And this is just revealed in the Brave and the Bold team-up series.
Yes. Yeah. So instantly we're in a flashback, right? So, and we see a young, Mr. Chance, Christopher Chance's dad, is way behind.
Mr. Chance is his father.
Mr. Chance.
You can call him Human Target.
Is way behind, and he goes to a loan shark named Amos Sharkey. And I feel like if your last name is Sharkey, you kind of have to be a loan shark.
You know what's a bummer? Knowing this is DC and that the loan shark isn't just like King Shark.
No, it's just a guy.
Where's my money?
Just a lumpy guy. So Mr. Chance borrows some money unwisely from Amos Sharkey. Can't pay it back. Can't pay it back. Eventually, once Mr. Chance Sr. is in over his head, Amos Sharkey sends a thug to go and kill him. Which to me is like, if he owes you money, why are you killing him? You know what I mean? Like that's.
You know, loan sharks don't even want to kill people for the most part. We're too gamey. We're too bony.
Yeah.
Most of the time, a loan shark probably just thinks you're some kind of like seal.
Yeah, and loan sharks are more afraid of you.
Yeah.
Or is that true? I don't know. I don't know animal facts.
Loan sharks are very helpful at removing invasive species.
Oh.
So like jellyfish, lone jellyfish.
A lone
jellyfish has a whole bunch of arms. Like, you owe me a lot of money. Sorry.
Back to a very dramatic father-son murder scenario. Amos Sharkey's thug comes and catches Mr. Chance with Christopher in some alley somewhere. No one's wearing pearls. And he's like, all right, you're going to get it. And Christopher tries to be the human target. He tries to, teenage Christopher tries to jump in front of the gun and tries to, save his dad. It doesn't work. He just gets, pistol whipped, and then the dad still gets shot.
Oh.
I know. And Christopher Chance vows that, he tried to be a human target for his dad, and he's never going to fail like that again. So we get a little bit of an origin story in here for the human target. Back to the present.
I was going to say, because you said the thing about pearls, I didn't mention this when I rewatched the Dark Knight trilogy. I realized that learning about how pearl necklaces are actually made, it's ruined all Batman scenes. All Wayne murder scenes are ruined because they always show Martha's pearl necklace being torn and then all the pearls go flying. But pearls are all knotted individually so that if that happens, you don't lose any pearls. And so what it says when that happens is that John? Wait.
It's Thomas.
Thomas Wayne.
But his mother's name is Martha, just like Superman's mother's name is Martha.
Thomas Wayne, in all those instances, got her very cheap pearls.
So
that's all those are. People are always like, it's so dramatic. I'm like, well, he obviously just bought that at a carnival one day.
Wow, you know what? This is way off topic, but this is a much older character than I thought. He first appeared in 1953. And then Christopher Chance, the character, appeared again in 1972.
Okay.
So a long-standing history here. I did figure out who plays him as well. In the 1992 series Human Target, he's played by Rick Springfield, if you can believe that.
Sure can.
And then in 2010, the show Human Target is played by Mark Valley, also from Boston Legal. And in the 5th and 6th season of Arrow, he's played by Will Trevall.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the quarter bin, though. Christopher Chance has just come out of his flashback, and he's like, you know what? I said I would do this. I'm going to do this. And so Sharky's basically in witness protection program. So this lone shark who had Christopher Chance's father killed is agreeing to turn over on a bigger boss. And so we got to work with this slime ball.
Yeah.
Things are going okay. Things are going fine. Christopher Chance is really absorbed in the role.
Most lone sharks, their only natural predator is a killer whale. A lone killer whale. Yeah. A
lone killer whale. Yeah. You don't want to get it over your head with those guys.
No.
They're not your chum. Things are going fine.
You said chum.
Yeah, I know. It was a little pun. Did you like it?
Yeah.
Anyway, they're in the J. Edgar Hoover building, right?
Of course,
an assassin pops out of the air duct.
I wish I could do a J. Edgar Hoover impression. Is he the president or the FBI?
Do you have a dress around? Because that would work. anyway, Chris jumps in and tackles the assassin as the big, like, lumpy guy, and things are fine.
Oh.
Yeah. So he does his human targeting, and while this is happening, the real Amos Sharkey has testified, putting the the crime boss away.
So all this happens in 22 pages.
Yes,
Okay.
I mean half of this comic.
Yeah.
So then Sharky is basically like, okay, well, keep on protecting me because I testified, and they're like, oh no, you testified, we're done with you, so whatever. And he's like, no, human target, you gotta help me. And he's like, I pity you. The end.
I thought he promised he would never fail again.
Well, yeah, he got him through the trial. That was all he agreed to do.
All right. So he didn't really learn about how to love his fellow man quite.
I don't think he learned love. No,
he needed to be visited by the ghost of his father past. Father future?
Exactly.
The ghost of his father yet to come.
His father, yes.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. You know what? This kind of reminded me that I like the character of the human target. I don't know if he has a more... I think he was really just kind of a backup character for a lot of this. So I'll have to see if I can track down some more human target.
Because I feel like I've seen... While reading Suicide Squad, I think he might have gotten a series post Crisis of Infinite Earths, but I could be very wrong about that. I've been very wrong about things before. I can't believe how dismissive you were about the Creeper character. I would have been so jazzed.
I'm sorry.
He's such a kooky character. He's all yellow and he's got that red cape with the green hair.
No, I know, but I didn't focus on that one because it was a very straightforward story, and I was like, why have the Creeper?
Yeah, well, the human target one sounds crazy.
Human Target had a Vertigo title starting in 1999.
Yes, I remember hearing about that.
Yep.
Yeah. That usually means there's a lot of blood and a lot of sex.
Wow.
Vertigo was known for having a lot of those, a lot of both.
Okay.
A lot of both.
All right.
Maybe I should check it out though, because now that Vertigo's shut down, I have to just like read old Vertigo stuff to get my Vertigo fix. And Vertigo was usually the series that I was like the imprint I was most excited to read for. So yeah, it would usually go something like I'd read my X-Men, I'd read my Marvel, I'd stop in my Batman, and then I read a bunch of Vertigo, repeat.
Wow.
No more. There ain't no Vertigo anymore.
Yeah, you gotta fill out. You gotta read the old Vertigo.
Yeah, I gotta fill
All
out.
right. So is that what are you planning on reading for next week? Any hints?
Any hints? I gotta finish that Jeff Lemire Moon Knight series.
Okay.
Keep reading that Suicide Squad series. I actually sat down. I think it was during that Wonder Woman Bloodlines movie. I just got on my phone and I started going through all the DC comics that I always meant to read. Now that I've got the DC app, so I was just picking and choosing. I don't know where I'm gonna go next. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. So hopefully I'll get back to the mainline Black Hammer series now that I've read like 50 side stories.
Seriously, you did your due diligence. Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to read that 1992 Black Canary series that picks up after this one. I got to finish this Jason Aaron Hulk, and then I might read a little Eternals.
Yeah, listen, you can give your full review on Jason Aaron Hulk. You don't have to worry about my feelings. I've already moved past it. I do need to, like I said, I need to watch Hell to Pay and the Red Sun. I made like strong arms, but he doesn't do that. That was the Wonder Woman move, if anything.
Yeah, that was confusing. It was a little confusing.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say,
yes,
on Twitter and stuff, or on the YouTube comments, tell us what you're reading. That's always fun. On the YouTube comments.
Do it.
Yeah, that's it.
Eric's usually the only one who sees those, so then he'll pass it on to me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's it.
All right. Well, I think you better go to sleep.
Sweet. Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
So long, everybody.
You end the thing. This was a Radio Meanwhile show. You find more about RadioMeanwhile.com at RadioMeanwhile.com. That's it.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Good night.